Good morning, Sphere One members. Thank you so much for being here for day two. We're going to be kicking this off with a Supplier of the Year presentation by Milwaukee in just a few minutes, but wanted to go ahead and remind you that in the chat feature there on your screen, you've got an opportunity to click on that to let us know you're here so we can do a bit of a roll call. It's significantly important that you and your team do click on that so we know that you're present, and we appreciate you doing that so much. Being a past supplier for this organization, I can't say enough how important earning the distinction of Supplier of the Year is. For someone like Milwaukee to earn that, it's important for you to know everything that goes into earning that. It's not just about sales volume. It's not just about achieving certain goals or plateaus. It's about a criteria that's in place that really separates those who do really well from those that don't do so well. I think it's important for you, if you're on the fence with your power tool and accessories, some of your safety needs, that if you're not buying from Milwaukee, maybe this presentation and with what they're fixing to show you will share with you the value of who they are and maybe push you over the edge to do more business with them like so many other of our members do. So with that, I just want to say thanks again for being here today, and I'd love to take this opportunity now to introduce our friends at Milwaukee.
Okay, we're going to get started. First off, I want to thank each of you for joining us on the call today. We recognize that the members have very busy schedules, and we certainly appreciate you taking the time for a quick Milwaukee State of the Union. My name is Paul Richardson. I'm the Senior Vice President for our IC Field Sales team. Joining me on the call today, I have John Stevens, who handles the Sphere One Marketing Group. You know, John and I had a lot of dialogue about what we wanted to cover on this call and how we would address the group for the 2021 Sphere One Virtual Conference. And we also had several discussions with Rob and Mike and key members, and we got some really good feedback. You know, typically these calls for us are focused on product, our future roadmap, and the innovation that Milwaukee brings to the market. And while those things are still very important to us, we've decided that we're going to reserve those conversations for the meetings that we have throughout the week. So today's not about what we came to give you. It's about what we think you came to get. And when we're done with this presentation, our goal is to make sure you have a deeper understanding for the success we've had with the Sphere One Group and how we plan to continue that. More importantly, we're all dealing with global economic conditions. So we want to be as transparent and as candid as we possibly can. And in true Milwaukee fashion, we're going to do that on this call. And we're going to outline how we intend to overcome those obstacles that we currently face. And then more importantly, how do we intend to set the table, not only for the growth that we're having this year, which by the way is a record-breaking year so far for us, but for many years to come with each of you and your teams. So I'll start out really just by giving you a current state of the business from a macro level for Milwaukee. You know, it's interesting, when I look at this slide, I think back when I started with the organization, we're roughly $500 million. And you know, fast forward to 2015, we had a leadership conference in Milwaukee with key personnel from human resources to product to channel and sales. And we laid out a goal of $5 billion by the end of 2020. Now, the way that we would achieve that goal is by growing 20% compounded annually over the course of 5 years. Now, we hit some big hurdles along the way. We had tariffs in 2018 that we fought through with you. We had the same thing in 2019. And in Q1, we stepped into a pretty good situation of 2020. The numbers were coming in really well. And then we got hit with this little thing called COVID-19 in the pandemic. And it absolutely threw us for a curveball. But we made a commitment to ourselves and to our customers. Number one was we were not going to furlough or lay off any of our employees. Number two was we were going to make the most out of that situation and really adapt. So we started leveraging Microsoft Teams and Zoom, and we used that to train and educate you and your teams as well as your users, and also to make sure that we had strategic planning sessions. Now, the net result of that is we hit the $5 billion. In fact, we overdrove it by $300 million. We finished at $5.3 billion. And additionally, we've invested over $100 million in capital expenditure as well as significant headcount, which I'll discuss a little bit later in this presentation. But we reinvest what hits our bottom line to keep our growth and our partnerships with the Sphere One Marketing Group. You know, when you look at the micro numbers with Sphere One, you know, I go back to 2016 when we were 36 million, and I remember John and I watching other manufacturers get on the stage and receive the recognition for being Vendor of the Year, and it drove us nuts, quite frankly. And we decided at that time we were going to find a way to get on that stage, which is what we did in 2019, and that's why we have this opportunity today. And we've had huge success, growing 17% year over year. In fact, this year we're in a really good spot. We're trending towards 82 million, so another really big year for Milwaukee. And if you look at the year-to-date results, we're hovering right around 53%. And while we're happy to be on this call and we're excited about 53%, we're disappointed in ourselves. And we feel like we let you down, and for that we're sorry, because you have demand coming in over 60%, and we're not shipping the way that we need to. In fact, we've got 10 million we still need to get out. So 53% is great, but the POS that you all have created is over 65%. So I'm going to turn it over to John, and John's going to discuss some of the big challenges that we have right now that are not independent to Milwaukee, probably most manufacturers in the market, and more importantly, he's going to discuss exactly how we plan to tackle some of those issues. So John, I'll give it to you.
Thank you, Paul, for that. What a great look at the history and, more importantly, our walk forward. It looks outstanding. Hello, everyone. I'm John Stevens, and I'm your Director of Sales at Sphere One. I've had the opportunity to meet and work with many of you, and I look forward to meeting more of you in the future. But Paul's right. We want to have a discussion about the obstacles in front of us. Supply chain. What is going on here? Well, if you look at media, listen to media, or read media, you can surmise three things. If you have a popular product, it's probably in short supply. 2, the materials to make that product are probably also in short supply. And 3, since the pandemic started, transportation and distribution has had a few problems, let's just say. So what's important to us? I put these columns in front of you because these are the 3 key areas that we want to work on. These are the obstacles. The first, electronic chips. They go into our tools and allow the motor and the battery to talk to each other and perform optimally, but they're also used in other products that maybe you wouldn't think of, like an F-150 Ford pickup truck, also on back order because of the lack of chips. Battery cells are another issue. As more and more people get into the cordless market, those raw materials are also in short supply. So we're working on fortifying that as well. And lastly, transportation. It's been a complete nightmare. It's hard not to get a chuckle on your face when you imagine that freighter captain making a left turn in the Suez Canal. Bottleneck. But what are we doing about that going forward? In a word, investment. That's what we're doing. Manufacturing expansion. We've invested more than $140 million in expansion of a lot of our critical plants. Even moving our hand tool plant from offshore to West Bend, Wisconsin. We believe that this is going to deliver us more than 35% in capacity expansion. As far as transportation, a problem for everybody, and we continue to air freight month after month, and we'll continue to do so until we catch up. One of the things you may not know about Milwaukee is that we received our offshore product almost exclusively on the West Coast. Our distribution team knows this, and they've opened the eastern seaboard for more pathways and more efficiencies. Lastly, the distribution center. We've been bulging at the seams, and I'm happy to report to you that we've secured a 1 million square foot building within our campus and is now employing the latest and greatest in picking machines and software. We expect to be up and running by the end of May, and we expect that this will take a third of the burden off our existing distribution. Until then, we are going to continue to run 7 days a week, 3 shifts a day, employing other incentives to get people back to work. In fact, we are taking each department at Milwaukee is sending down teams to help at the distribution center, pick, package, and ship to catch up for all of the demand that we have before us. Hopefully you can see this is a lot of effort, and it didn't happen yesterday. It didn't happen because of the pandemic. It happened because 5 years ago we looked at the next 5 years and how we wanted to grow, and this was all necessary. This is our investment and commitment to you. And now Paul's going to talk about more investment in our most precious asset, our people. Paul?
Okay, so we've talked about the numbers, our supply challenges, and the plans we have to move forward in a way that hopefully alleviates what we're all up against here in 2021. So John alluded to some of the stuff we're doing at OB, and we'll continue to look at new opportunities there. But there's a lot more that we're investing our bottom line back into the organization. in an effort to make sure that we can continue to grow at the number we want to grow with Sphere One. So over the last 10 years, our CAGR has been 22%. We have no intentions of backing off a 20% number anytime in the near future. And to do that, we've got to make sure that we have the right resources. So, from a manufacturing standpoint, we talked a little bit about Vietnam and Mexico, and that absolutely made sense when the tariffs happened. But we're also looking at vertically integrating in a big way here in 2021. And we've been doing it with our hole saws, our Sawzall blades, as well as our Sawzalls and several other tools. But this year we'll have a West Bend facility that we look to move our hand tools over to, as well as in Mukwonago, a facility for our PPE, specifically with our hard hats and our respirators. But it doesn't stop there. We created over 370 jobs in the corporate office environment, and we've added IT and human resources and product and channel to make sure that we're more structured for the growth that we know is headed our way. Sales has been big for us. So this year alone, it's only May, so the first 4 months out of the year, we've added 81 salespeople, and we're going to look to add even more resources here in the back half. From a service perspective, we added a new facility in Indy, a new hub. And then probably one that stands out to me the most is what we're doing with engineering to make sure that we have the product and the roadmap necessary for this growth. So over the next 12 months, we're looking to add over 1,000 engineers. And as you can imagine, just finding 1,000 engineers in Milwaukee, Wisconsin is challenging enough. So we are looking globally at the best and the brightest. And we're also looking at 50 plus just in construction technology to help us with our One Key platform, as well as some of the partnerships that we are embarking upon with construction technology companies. So a lot of really good stuff on the horizon. We don't plan on slowing down anytime soon when it comes to the resources. Now, the reason we're adding these resources, it's very simple. There's several buckets we're looking at that we need to grow. And I'll start out with MEP. So mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Everybody on this call recognizes that is core to Milwaukee. And that's not going to change. You're going to see our product roadmap has a lot of product for this user. And 10 years ago, we made a commitment. We were going to own that user from sunup to sundown, and we have not deviated from that commitment. Over the past couple of years, there's a couple other areas we've really focused on. And I'll start with power and utility. We started that team several years ago, and we have knocked over some of the biggest power and utility contractors here in the U.S. And that's a big one for us. And as we look at that vertical and expand in that vertical, one other area we see opportunity in is communication. So when you think, how is everybody doing business today, right? We're doing this virtually. Our customers are having meetings virtually. We're doing trainings virtually. We feel that communications and power and utility will be a huge avenue for growth, not just for us, but for you in the future. Transportation maintenance is another bright spot for us. We added 4 people to that division, and we grew to 175 million. So we're going to look to add people there as well. And then GC, general contract. We actually formed a preferred agreement with TALK for the first time last year. We started a new GC team, and again, we're contracting with some of the biggest off the ENR Top 100. And then the final piece here in 2021, we're launching 2 teams. And I'll start with concrete. This is a team I had an opportunity to work on the field marketing side with some of my counterparts. But we just sent a team through 4 weeks of intense training, and they're ready and able to work with you. We want you thinking about Milwaukee when you or your sales reps are on job sites and you see Hilti. So we're going to have a unique story from form to finish in a way that prevents users from having to use gas and cords and generators and really adopt a cordless platform, whether it's for dust collection or rotary hammers or the new MX Fuel platform that we have. And then the final piece is residential. Rates are still low. We're not seeing slowdowns here. We see markets like Florida and Texas as huge opportunities. Even where I reside here in Arizona, every block has new houses going up. So we're going to add a new residential job site that will launch the first half of this year. So the one thing that probably stands out to me the most when I look at all 3 of these buckets or the 8 verticals we have here is that I can't think of another marketing group that can touch on each of these buckets better than Sphere One can. And we absolutely want to partner with you on these. So we're committed at Milwaukee to invest in the structural resources needed. Not only that, the next gen Sphere One training. So we're investing in new vehicles for Milwaukee innovation training that typically we would do in person, and we'll look to do that when the time is appropriate and we can do so. But also things that we're going to do on Blue Volt and how we're going to do this virtually. And if we do those things in conjunction with one another, we are confident that we can have an accelerated growth plan with Sphere One in each of these verticals. So the final piece I want to talk about here is really just the sales support and the demand creation that we have and how we can drive that. So I want to make sure everybody has a clear understanding of how the sales force is structured at Milwaukee. So I'll start over here on the left. On the left, you've got your account manager. He or she is your point person for all intents and purposes. They're the person that you go to with service issues or orders to find out where your product is and tracking. And we want to keep it that way. But we also have two teams we want working with you. We have a field marketing team, which I call kind of a hybrid team. That team is focused on distribution and the user. And for lack of a better term, they're basically special operations for Milwaukee. We have 4 teams. We've got an advanced technology specialist team that focuses on the lasers, the lighting, the high force product, and some of the drain cleaning. So again, the more technical sales. We literally just launched an accessory conversion specialist team. That team is going to be in the field, demoing product, working the counters for you, making sure that we have the best in class displays. The concrete team I just alluded to. So we've got 2 regional managers, one on the east, one on the west. We have 12 IC regions. Each one of those IC regions will have a concrete territory manager. And then the final field marketing piece is our safety specialist team. So March of 2020, we launched that team, and we have a ton of new product. In fact, over 500 new products coming out over the next 12 months. Want to make sure that you're working with those individuals if you see opportunity in these categories. Off to the right, we have what we call our job site solutions team, and they're highly focused as well. Their primary focus is on the user, contracting with the user, making sure we're farming those contracts with all the new products that we have, but also targeting incremental opportunities and conversions with each of the Sphere One members. So we've got it broken into a couple different buckets: mechanical plumbing, we have an electrical team, we have a power and utility team. We just launched the general contractor team. And again, as I stated earlier, we're launching a residential team here in the first half. So all 3 of these teams, we would love to be a part of your operating rhythm. We don't expect that they need to be a part of every weekly meeting that you have. But as you're planning for Gateway for Growth, we want them actively participating. And if you see an opportunity in one of these categories or one of these verticals, please make sure to include them. So listen, I want to say thank you to everybody for the time today. I'm going to turn it over to John, but I couldn't think of a more suitable group to partner for growth here in 2021. We expect a really big year this year, and more importantly, several big years for both groups into the future, both personally and professionally. So thanks again for the time. John, I'm going to let you take control and wrap up here.
Wow, that's some impressive investment in people. Let's recap now. We talked about the growth path that we have before us. We talked about the obstacles, and more importantly, what we're doing to get over those obstacles. And then finally, Paul talked about the investment in our people, which ultimately is going to lead to more products in the field, and the teams in the field will be creating more demand, equaling more sales for Sphere One. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the interest and intent of the Sphere members with Milwaukee product. You continue to outpace the industry in Blue Volt training classes, and for that, we thank you very much. But enough from Paul and I. Let's hear from some of the members.
You know, Sphere One and Milwaukee Power Tools is just a real powerful combination. You know, we view Milwaukee as a true leader in the power tool segment. We see them leading with product innovation. We see them leading through aggressive marketing programs and really just their constant commitment to being number one. You know, like many distributors, we carry all the power tool lines, but none have been able to do what Milwaukee's done with our company. I would encourage any distributor to, get on board with Milwaukee Power Tools. We've had double-digit increases year after year for, 10 years. And last year, we had a 50% increase. The Milwaukee team really just does support us. We have events like open houses and dedicated Milwaukee tool days that exceed $500,000 in an afternoon. There's just no other tool line we carry that can say that. One thing we've noticed with Milwaukee, unlike the competition, is everyone from senior management on down just has a common goal, and that's to be number one in the marketplace. Number one just doesn't mean the largest tool company. Number one to them means innovation, it means product offering, it means quality, it means performance. I think Steve Richmond probably said it best when he said, we're not a power tool company, we're a solutions provider, and we really believe that they are. We're very proud to say we're a partner with Milwaukee and Sphere One.
I'm Blake with CFC in Salt Lake City, Utah. Over the years, our business with Milwaukee has been up and down. but over time, their business practices have evolved to help us out. Two things of note: our ability to make significant margin with Milwaukee and their enforcement of their MAP policies. Milwaukee is truly a partner for the brick and mortar, and our future together is bright.
Hello, Spirit One Milwaukee Power Tools. Thank you for selecting us for being part of your presentation today. I'm Gary Swafford, President, Denali Industrial Supply. With me is Mark Weber, the General Manager, Bill Gottmeyer, the Sales Manager, and we're filming this obviously from sunny Fairbanks, Alaska. And just wanted to say our growth with Spirit One and Milwaukee has been a combination. We've been selling power tools. Milwaukee is our first one since 1990. We joined Spirit One in 2018. Best decision we've made as a company in our 35-year history. And so thank you, Spirit One. Thank you, Milwaukee Power Tools, and Mark Weber.
So, like you said, we've been with Milwaukee since 1990. The last 3 years and 3.5 years, kind of a combination of things. Us, our economy in Fairbanks, Sphere One membership, and Milwaukee's innovation. Our sales have increased over 300% since 2017, which isn't a number you can take lightly. It's just kind of crazy, phenomenal growth. And in 2021, month to date through April 12th, yesterday, our sales this year are again up 36% in Milwaukee sales. I'm not talking about overall company, but in our Milwaukee sales. So our relationship with Milwaukee and Sphere One's been fantastic. We appreciate the people involved with Milwaukee who come and help us out, and the relationship with our salesmen, with our counter sales, right down to our warehouse, and everything's been fantastic. So we appreciate it. Thanks.
So our sales staff here at Denali Industrial Supply, we don't just sell the Milwaukee tools. When the salesman makes a sale, they actually get excited about it because they know that they're passing on a high quality product at a very fair price to their customers, something that's going to work on the job site for years. They also like to extend to the customer that the warranty is not just a warranty, but it's an industry-leading warranty that helps convey a lot of sales and convince a lot of customers to buy the product. The other thing about Milwaukee is they're always pushing the envelope. They're always looking for cutting-edge solutions, which makes it easier to sell their product, like the MX fuel line to try and go after the gas on the job sites, or the M18 frame and nailer, which Milwaukee sent us a demo of, and we took it out to job sites and had actually about 20 of them sold before we even got our first shipment of it. So continue what you're doing, Milwaukee. We appreciate it, and you make it easy for us.
Okay, ready? You say Milwaukee Tool and Sphere One. Thank you. Ready?
Ready?
Thank you to Milwaukee Tools and Sphere One.
Using the MX Fuel carry-on power supply, I was actually surprised on how much power it actually would support, how long it lasted. It powered everything, no delay, and plenty of power.
Miter saws, corded saws, battery charging units, air compressors. It kept up with all our power needs.
MX Fuel power supply doesn't have any emissions because it is battery powered. It's great with its mobility. It's small, light, compact.
I can take it inside a room and not worrying about gasoline or even noise.
MX Fuel changes your efficiency on the job site. You're saving time and money.
I save on gasoline, I save on oil, I save on parts along the lifespan of a traditional generator. In this case, it's just charging the battery.
The number one benefit of using the MX Fuel backpack concrete vibrator is it works every single time. It's incredible. I mean, it's easy, it's safe.
It's all about consistency. We've had the same performance from start to finish thus far. I mean, it's pretty much slap the battery on and go.
The MX Fuel backpack concrete vibrator definitely has the power that we're looking for.
Performance has been on par or better than what a gas-powered vibrator would be putting out.
You don't have the fumes of the traditional gas ones. It's a lot cleaner and a lot safer for me.
There's no stop and go get gas, not worried about filling up gas the day before. As long as your batteries are charged, you're good to go.
The battery life of the MX Fuel backpack concrete vibrator, with that 2-inch head, we're looking at somewhere around 50 to 70 yards per battery.
The runtime on the batteries for the Milwaukee lasers was pretty impressive, I thought. We were able to run them for like 2 or 3 days of 10 hours just straight.
That green light is a lifesaver. With the old red ones, it would wash out, but that green really is vibrant and you can pick it out at just about any distance.
The micro adjustments, a huge game changer. It's a smooth action on there, so you can get exactly the adjustment that you need.
Everything in our industry is precise, so the micro adjust is great for getting down to that 1/16 of an inch in a long distance.
And you can just fine tune it right into where it needs to be. Makes it so much quicker.
Makes you more efficient, they're tougher, the light's better. It just is a great product.
It's the best. Nothing compares to it.
It's important to stay safe.
We need to be as productive as possible.
Downtime's not an option.
I used the fuel nailer framing with some engineered lumber, and it worked just as well as a pneumatic gun. I was impressed.
With the Milwaukee nailer, I've noticed the power is significant. It penetrates the engineered lumber great, not having to come back through and hammer it down, one shot and done.
I did some half-inch sheeting on some LSL, and I had no problem driving them. Even when I sped up my nailing, I had no problem keeping consistency.
Efficiency is the name of the game, and I think the fuel nailer, having the bump fire mode is a huge help.
As a framer, we're shooting racks upon racks upon racks of nails, and I'm not having jams. I'm not dealing with that issue. The Milwaukee is the fastest cordless nailer I've used.
You can simply just slap a battery on and just blast away.
Gas cartridges are a lot slower. They have to kind of wind up.
I don't need to change the gas cartridge. All I have to do is change the battery. I think the Milwaukee fuel nailer is engineered for professionals. The quality of the gun is made for a job site.
It was the first one that I really felt could actually compete with a pneumatic nailer.
I like everything about it. I think Milwaukee's nailed all the really important parts about a product like that.
You knew we were going to have to show you a little new product before we got off air. We just wanted to reach out one more time and say thank you. Our future looks great, but none of it would happen without the Sphere One Group. We at Milwaukee salute you and look forward to a great 2021 and beyond. Thank you.
Wow, how awesome was that? I'm sure, like I shared earlier, if any of you are on the fence, this certainly is going to give you that nudge to do a lot more business with our friends and partners at Milwaukee. With closing out this section of our meeting, I want to remind you, don't forget about our awards presentation later today. Again, as Mike had shared earlier in his opening, so important for us to be able to recognize, see who the new suppliers and members of the year are going to be moving forward. Going to have a great time, and we're going to enjoy ourselves like we always do. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you later.